Welcome to Amazon Answers. I am Jared, and what's up, Cameron? And today we are discussing the various costumes and looks that Wonder Woman has had throughout her publication history. She has had quite the variety of like armors and like even hairstyles. It's gotten crazy, but there's like a lot of like variation the way Wonder Woman has been portrayed in the comics, in the movies per se, from like a long time. But so let's get started. So in terms of like the overall look, I'm gonna pull up Golden Age Wonder Woman because we're gonna start with the very first like look for Wonder Woman, because I think that's the one that everyone builds off of. So let's do that. Hey, what's up, Milo? How you doing? Hey, what's up, NJ? So let's do this. So we're gonna start with. So this is the first one. This is the foundation. And so Golden Age Wonder Woman. And what I like about this look, going into it first off, is like I like the skirt, because there are people that like argue against like the armored skirt that she currently has because of the Godot suit that we'll talk about later. And there are people that are saying that maybe she should have like those shorts or something like of that matter. But for me, if for the Wonder Woman movies nowadays, for the DCU, they went with this, I would not be opposed to this being the Wonder Woman look in terms of like, at least in terms of that costume. Love that one. Is that Cook? The omnibus covers is Darwin Cook, because he did the omnibuy for the cover for the Golden Age Wonder Woman that has all the 40 stuff. But yeah, so mostly it is in terms of Cook, but the one that originally designed Wonder Woman was one of the DC staff artist named H.G. Peters. He and Marston really worked to make the character look Greek and feminine and such. And I think that was one of the parts that the Marston movie got right. And the amount of what that movie got right stops there, but beyond the point. But here's the other look that Wonder Woman kind of has going into the golden silver age area. So this is the other thing that they gave her, are these like shorts. But I personally think that now you could have the shorts as like an undergarment and then go with like, here's the Apollo to Wonder Woman, like they do here. See, these shorts are like the undergarment, and then the skirt itself is like the thing that everyone sees. And honestly, if they went with that, that would be a pretty interesting look that like homages all of the past looks for Wonder Woman. They could even do like the small bracelets, the eagle chest plate. But yeah, this look, the Golden Age look for Wonder Woman, I think is one of those costumes that it's timeless. It's not like with Superman where like the trunks like severely like look stupid as hell. But with this one, there's just something about it that it really, really, really looks like you could have this as Wonder Woman's costume now. NJ says, personally, not a fan of skirts, short or long ones. Okay, that's fine. But it's like, at least with me, it's not, I'm not as against it as I am with Superman wearing trunks, because it doesn't look dumb as like the trunks do. So then we get to the Silver Age Wonder Woman. Silver Age Wonder Woman. That's the one where she has a little bit more of like the shorts and like maybe a little bit of the shirt. And this is Wonder Woman in like the 70s. So we're approaching Crisis on Infinite Earths, which will be the big relaunch with George Perez as the Wonder Woman writer and creative, the best Wonder Woman. This is also where we had the Diana being a spy because her armor, her like powers are taken away. And that's the one where the new Wonder Woman where she was like a spy. This is the moment that continues to dog Wonder Woman throughout her publication history. By the way, Milo says, I feel like the DCEU Wonder Woman skirt worked because it doesn't look like it's made of regular fabric. That too, and I'll talk about that costume later in the stream, but there was a lot of thought they put into the Gal Gadot suit that they don't get enough credit for. So that's really the Silver Age Wonder Woman. What it's known for is like the white spy suit, which bombed so hard, and it was also they changed it after Gloria Steinem did an article saying give Wonder Woman her powers back and make her regular again. And that's where you got her Wonder Woman getting her powers back, which I am so happy for this. I'm glad they undid that. Hey, what's up, Tevia? So then we get to, I'm going to go to the Perez Wonder Woman, because that is where the foundation for even the Linda Carter suit is. So here's a good a look at it. So what we have here, this is the suit that everyone thinks of when they think of Wonder Woman, at least nowadays. Let me see, is the back issue one a little clearer? Yeah, it is. Okay, you know what? I'll just zoom in as well. Because if you see here, what this gives you is it's very simple. Whose idea was it to undo Wonder Woman's powers getting rid of? Well, that was probably just DC editorial saying we're getting torn apart by the feminists, so just undo it. I don't know specifically which creative it was, but so with this costume, because it's the great part about this costume, it's simple. It's not overly complicated. It's just simple, elegant, and it's universally applicable. I love that. In terms of continuing on for because the other thing that I really dig about this is now the part that this gets kind of like dogged for is like this is what they're referring to when fans call it the bikini suit, but the problem with it's that it's like one of those like costumes that I don't think you could do in the modern time and with movies. Yeah, and then NJ says this is the Wonder Woman suit for me. Yeah, 100%. This is the one that I think is the most peak, because again, it's simple. It doesn't look too armored, but it's armor if you like read the comics, they describe it as armor. Kind of like how the new 52 Superman suit looked like armor, but it was actually like some type of fabric. It could be like impenetrable fabric, like chainmail or something like that. But it just looks really, really, really solid. And then what they also did at one point, which I felt also, the other thing that Wonder Woman had is she also had this more casual suit where it was the skirt and like maybe a little Amazonian t-shirt, which I like. But the other one that I really dug that they did here was at one point they gave it a cape, a like, I'm trying to find the actual cape. Here we go. They gave her like a star-spangled cape, which I really felt looked really good. Right, so here's the more like Diana being casual look. But yeah, when you looked at Wonder Woman, so much of what we think of the images that we think of when we think of Wonder Woman, it all comes from George Perez. Like, again, this is why I say, when it comes to Wonder Woman, if DC really wants to fix that costume, it wants to get more people reading Wonder Woman, they need to go back to what made they need to essentially reboot how they handle the character and just do what they did with Perez. That is what everyone admits is like the peak Wonder Woman costume. But it's like too many people won't, even though they really, 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 they really need to, because again, this is the foundation. Even all of the writers that come onto Wonder Woman say that the George Perez run is their favorite. Now, particularly with the current run, I'm convinced that was just marketing to get people on board. All right, here we go. But I think that it is what a lot of people think of when they think of Wonder Woman. But so then we get to, after this, we have, let's see, let's do John Byrne. Oh, actually, no. Then we have Loeb's Wonder Woman. So with Mesner Loeb's. It was expanded. The costume was pretty much solidified at that point. But the other thing that like Loeb's did with Wonder Woman was this is where the biker suit comes from, which I'll zoom in a little bit, where Artemis was took over as Wonder Woman. Cameron says the fact that they have Perez as the literal blueprint but keep refusing to use it just shows how they don't. Well, yeah, it's like the thing is, admitting that Perez is the blueprint is one thing. Constantly trying to outdo him or undo what he did is another thing entirely. And DC writers keep trying to undo what Perez did, even though he is the reason why Wonder Woman, he's one of the major reasons why Wonder Woman was like a major character in post-crisis. But so we have here, so at this point in the story, and this was the first appearance of Artemis, by the way. So the Amazon, so here's the interesting thing: when people ship Diana with Artemis, it doesn't work because Artemis is actually essentially significantly younger than Diana. Because when they went in, because okay, so what happened is the entire island of Themyscira was teleported into a hell dimension. For Diana, it felt like a day or so, I think. But for the Amazons, it was 10 years. So Artemis is not like is not of age per se. And in terms of like where she stands now, I don't know if she was like adopted by the Amazons because her parents died in combat is still canon, because I don't think Wade ever weighed in on that. But beyond that, in terms of Diana, by Dan Moore draws the OG. Yes, Dan Moore with the OG Perez suit is perfect. So then you have Diana wearing the biker suit, which is the biker shorts, a jacket, the Wonder Girl like jacket that Cassie would have soon. And then you get like she has this bra top thing, which, okay, I can see why people don't like the costume. Me personally, it's not my favorite Wonder Woman look. I don't think it's as bad as people say it is, but I really feel like it's one of those suits that I'm like, it would be like this way. I don't want this in a movie, but it wouldn't be that bad if it showed up as like an homage thing. Like they have it in the Justice League Cosmic Chaos game and a few other things. I don't think it would be necessarily that horrible if they went in that direction. Anyway, so then let's go to John Byrne Wonder Woman. So John Byrne is like one of the like biggest creators in comics. And what I like about his Wonder Woman costume is it's basically the Perez suit, but I do like how the breastplate, the gold breastplate, extends a little more into like the belt, as opposed to being like separated here. I really feel like that brings the whole thing together and adds to the more armored look. Hey, what's up, Somar? Yeah, we're talking about Wonder Woman's various costumes. And so you have that. Now, the next thing that I really want to talk about is, before we move on, because I want to talk about the Kingdom Come suit. Wait, wrong thing. Hang on. Wrong suit. Oh, you know what happened? I by accidentally quit my Safari. All right, so let me reload that. So we're going to talk about the Kingdom Come Golden, as Britt eloquently calls it, the Golden Chicken armor, because that's very important to talk about. It's one of the costumes that like is referenced in like every single Kingdom Come Wonder Woman. Here you go. Wait, I'm not a fan of the eagle-shaped emblem. It should be a golden W always. Okay, yeah, I can go with that. I can go with that. By the way, Alex Ross had a very interesting like Wonder Woman look for his suit. So one of the things that he had was kind of like a loincloth thing right here, which I felt was like, okay, it's not horrible and stuff. And by the way, he had the connected golden eagle. So the thing I really want to talk about is the golden armor Wonder Woman suit that was introduced in Kingdom Come. It's the armor of Hephaestus. And the way I kind of explain it, it's the craps hit the fan, so Diana needs to like wear something like insanely powerful in order for like her to be able to counter that threat. So it's her contingency suit. And granted, it has been very much overused in recent years, particularly when you play into like Wonder Woman 1984, which I don't think it really was needed. Patty just used it as nostalgia armor for it. But and it's been like homaged in many different looks, like with Gail Simone and other writers. Like practically every Wonder Woman run has used a variation of the golden armor. I don't think, except for maybe, so I'm gonna say most post-crisis suits have had Wonder Woman as a in the golden suit at one point. This is another cut costume that I want to show, because at one point, so the other thing for Loeb is that one of the things that he did, I want to talk about, is that, so at one point, Wonder Woman was traveling through space and then got captured and enslaved by space pirates. And then she led a revolt and took over their pirate ship. And she's basically in this pirate suit, which is one of the most unique periods for Wonder Woman. And I'm like, see, you could do this. Is the thing. When people say Wonder Woman's tough to write for, she's not really. All you got to do is actually know the character, because if you know the character, guess what? You're going to be able to do apply a large amount of you're going to be able to apply a large amount of stuff to that, of a lot of like storylines, if you know enough about Wonder Woman. Unfortunately, again, not a lot of writers really know Wonder Woman. That's the thing. But who knows at this point. But so then we get to, I'm going to go to Phil Jimenez Wonder Woman. So one of the things that Phil did is he brought back the very frizzy hair Diana that Perez had, as opposed to like her having like the straightest straight hair ever. And I really like her having that bushy hair and stuff, because I think it's more unique. It's more unique. And then let's see. Then I really like the way he draws the suit and such, because I think it homages Perez in the perfect way. Like the way I always describe the Phil Jimenez run, it is the biggest like tribute to Perez Wonder Woman that's ever been done in terms of a run. Like there are a few creators that say if they want to homage Wonder Woman, if they want to homage that version of Wonder Woman, they should. And I'm like, he is one of the few creatives that 100% could do it. Let's see. Wonder Woman space is much more needed. Yeah, exactly. And Andre just talked about that. But yeah, the curly haired Diana, I really think works very well for Diana. If there's like not a lot of Wonder Woman arcs that really use that, even though they definitely should. But so let's see. By the way, so what are some of your favorite costumes for Wonder Woman as it applies to like her as a character? Because there is like a lot of really good ones here. And don't worry, we'll get to Absolute, because there's like a lot of good Absolute costumes for Wonder Woman. Let's see. Let's go to let's see. Let's go to Greg Rucka. So Rucka had a few interesting of Wonder Woman like costumes in his run. So one of the things that he did is he had Diana blinded, which is basically the Wonder Woman suit, but with a red blindfold, which I really like. Perez and Jimenez are dope. Yeah, I know, I love them. The other thing that he did like a variation of like the. Hang on, I know how to do this. He did a variation of the sort of golden armored suit, but it made her look more like an ancient Spartan, which obviously I'm a big fan of that. And so one of the things that they did was, I'm trying to find that one suit, because it was one of those costumes that when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's actually really good. Yeah, that actually looks really good. Let me see. It was, where is that? It should be somewhere here. So it's basically this, but then it has like a Spartan helmet, like a helmet from 300. New 52 and DCAU is your favorite? Oh, okay. That's interesting. DCAU looked great. Too bad it wasn't a good Wonder Woman version. By the way, also Historia actually looks really good. Say what you want about Tom King's writing, but the costume for his Wonder Woman was great. Well, because it's just the regular armored suit. He didn't change anything. And it's like the Trinity suit for her daughter just looks like the most generic Wonder costume. But it's also hyper dependent. Let me be clear. The way Wonder Woman looks is hyper dependent on the artist as well. So there is that. So that's that. Then we get to Gail Simone Wonder Woman. And if you notice, as we go through each writer's run, each one has a slight variation of the costume. Like Gail has more of the separated look on like on the eagle, as opposed to it being like connected like the previous runs. And then you have, I believe, Gail was the first one to use the golden armor in continuity, as opposed to it being like, because again, Kingdom Come is not like an in continuity story. It's more of like an Elseworld. So this was like the first time it was canonically used, which I definitely dug that. So that's that version of Wonder Woman. There were a few other like costumes that I really liked in this run. Then we're going to go to JMS. Now here's the other one. So when Wonder Woman 600 was happening, so this is what they wanted to do. So Wonder Woman 600 was a major shakeup of Wonder Woman continuity. That, let me be clear about this. It was intended to be a temporary thing. It wasn't like this is going to be like the permanent iteration of Wonder Woman. So the conceit is, what if Diana was raised in man's world instead of on Themyscira? So of course she would be a little more like hardened and a little bit less reverent of the gods, because she wasn't raised to be very like reverent of them. But so, and then so she starts off with the jacket, and then later she would shed the jacket for more of this look, which has like straps on the arms as well. Now that would be the permanent Wonder Woman suit if the New 52 hadn't just happened right after this. Like immediately after this, the New 52 Wonder Woman happened. New 52 Wonder Woman. Now, New 52 Diana had two costumes. So I'm going to start with the more simple one. And this one is drawn by David Finch, but actually I'll go to the Jim Lee one. So one of the things that like the New 52 suit has, which I like how simple it is. Again, I like suits that are very simple, that don't have all this fringe BS and stuff, and that are just like the armor. And as opposed to Wonder Woman having more gold on like the eagle and the armor, it's more silver. That's really the defining like thing of New 52 Wonder Woman, was using silver instead of gold for like the accents on the armor, which I really liked. I really felt it's a costume that doesn't get enough like love and attention, even though it totally deserves it. And even there were some things that didn't go the full eagle route, NJ, that went more of like a W. So say what you want about the Azzarello run, but it had a pretty dope Wonder Woman suit. Then you get to the change. Now, okay, so the suit was designed by David and Meredith Finch. Now, let me explain this, because I talked to David Finch when I saw him at a con once. The intent of this, so DC wanted to give Diana a costume that completely covered her up and such. So that was like, as far as I know, that was the reasoning for this. Now, what David told me is that the backlash when they implemented the suit was so intense that's why it only lasted for one arc of this Wonder Woman run before being like immediately like undone and put back in. Now, the other thing that like this suit does kind of well, I would say, it's not like the worst, is the fact that I mean, I like some of the armored look for it, but the part that I think it really loses is why does she have Wolverine arm blades? Like, why? I mean, the gold part is fine, but again, why does she have Wolverine arm blades? Britt calls this the linebacker suit because she has the shoulder pads and stuff. But I'm just like, what are you doing? This I understand that you wanted to do a change in the Wonder Woman suit, but I'm like, why? What? You could have done so much better with this suit. However, I'm not as against it as like some fans are. I do see why it is not appreciated by the overall audience. So now we're gonna go to the Gal Gadot suit because I'm trying to do these relatively in order. So let me go to this Gal Gadot. Okay, Wonder Woman. Let me find a good look at it. All right. So here's where this suit comes in. So one of the things that Zach wanted to do, so because this Wonder Woman, I'm trying to find a better look at it. Okay, here we go. So the thing about the suit is because Diana in this universe is like ancient. Here we go. One of the things that Zach wanted to do is make her look more like a gladiator. And that's why the armor is kind of like scuffed. It looks very ancient. It looks faded. And this what is the blueprint for like the Wonder Woman comic suits later. Because DC, around this time, DC Rebirth was starting. And they wanted to do like they wanted to synergize it. NJ said they're personally not a fan of the Gadot suit. All right, fair enough. I like it for like what it's trying to do. Hunter asked if I'm a fan of pants Wonder Woman. Depends on the costume. I'm okay with Wonder Woman having pants. I'm not as against it. It just depends on the overall costume that I think would work a lot. That determines that. So that was one of the key things. She even has the shoulder strap for like her sword and shield, the lasso. So I have a kind of a very positive relationship with the suit. Then we also have her Amazonian training suit, which I felt they actually did a good job representing. Hang on, I gotta bring this up. There you go. Which I really dug this suit. Then we get the 1984 suit, which is a little bit more like brighter in terms of coloring. And I feel like in their attempt, because Patty, the reason why Wonder Woman 1984 is such a like movie is because Patty wanted to do her version of Superman 78. And the other thing is like the reason why she brought Steve back is because her father was a fighter pilot, so she was essentially self-inserting into like Steve Trevor and stuff. So I'm like, all right, that's like not a thing that I really appreciate. But so there was that. So then we get the DC Rebirth Wonder Woman, which, okay, so let me be clear. So as you can see, it's very much inspired by the Gal Gadot suit. Now, the problem that I have with it is how they changed it. Because they literally just have Diana throw off the new 52 suit. And this is after they did the implication that Diana, that was like fake memories or something like that. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I really don't like that. I think it's one of the like, I think it's one. Let me put it to this way: I can tolerate a lot when it comes to DC. I don't tolerate being petty. That's when I'm like, okay, you know what? No, I'm done with that. But anyway, in terms of the suit, it's okay. It's not really my favorite, but it's It's the suit that like all the subsequent suits are built off of. I will say though, I do like how Diana had a cape in this cost at this point in the rebirth run when it first started. So I do like that. Now we're gonna take a trip in the multiverse to Smallville, because Smallville actually had Wonder Woman show up in the comics, and she actually had her own costume. And I don't know how I feel about the armor that she had, because I feel like if you wanted to do armored on the arms, maybe cover both arms, but it's like, I get it. It's probably their thinking probably is that Wonder Woman's other arm is protected by the shield, so she doesn't necessarily need one to protect her arm, which I'm like, okay, that kind of works. However, it's like it does look kind of like imbalance, and you guys know how important balance is when it comes to Wonder Woman for me. But yeah, so what other costumes do you guys want to talk about, Barry? Here's the full look at it. Yeah, it's like, okay, it's not really my favorite Wonder Woman suit, but still. So then we get to the Lando Wonder Woman. Because there's a costume in the Orlando run that I really liked. That's homaging the spy suit. So let me do this. May have been the G. Willow Wilson run, but I'm fairly certain it was somewhere here. Anyway, so Steve Orlando's run. It's one of the Wonder Woman runs that I really think doesn't get talked about enough, and is one of those runs that the problem with a lot of Wonder Woman runs is they get like forgotten and not talked about later, because Wonder Woman, as opposed to Superman and Batman, doesn't have as many universally like accepted like awesome runs for Wonder Woman. Now, we know there are good Wonder Woman runs, obviously, but the problem is not enough people know about it. Not enough non-Wonder Woman readers understand that. That's the thing. So if DC pushed these runs more, they probably would. But anyway, so we have that. Then we have the G. Willow Wilson Wonder Woman. So let me get rid of this. All right. So again, it's more of the in some of the ways she hammered in the sword and the shield suit. You have like this more, again, Gal Gadot inspired armor, and this is currently the major look that Diana would have throughout the run. But I will always love the G. Willow Wilson run, because that was the one where they were like Wilson broke up Diana and Steve, and I'm like, yes, definitely break them up, end that relationship. So there's that. So then we get to G. Willow Wilson. I'm going to skip to the Becky Cloonan, because there's another Wonder Woman costume that we definitely need to talk about, and that is her Viking suit. Oh, another issue I have with the battle skirt is almost no artist can draw consistently. That is very true. That is 100% a problem, and I agree with you on that. Another issue I have is, so it's very artist to artist. Some draw it very long, some short. It's also because DC editorial doesn't like get on the writer's ass for consistency. But anyway, so here's the Viking Wonder Woman suit from the Valhalla arc of the Kloonrad run, and I love this suit, because one of the things I love with like mythological superhero characters like Thor and Wonder Woman is that I really, and Hunter, I'm not gonna go over the Bizarra costume, because that's just that's just an alternate Wonder Woman version. I'm just going more of the actual Diana versions of the character. But anyway, so I love whenever they add like a fur like shoulder pads and a cape onto the character, because I think that is one of the really, really, really cool. Like it really emphasizes like them being like godlike characters, which I really like. And with this suit, because it's an interesting way to look at it if you're trying to make Diana more of like, because Diana for the most part has always been portrayed as like Greek mythology as opposed to like Norse mythology. So it's always a like balancing act trying to go to like transfer over. But Andrew said DC should just bring back the OG press. No, I agree with you on that. I feel like that's the other thing that's part of like they should like re-Perez Wonder Woman is that. It's 100% that I really feel like they should do that. Like go back to like that version of Wonder Woman, because that is like one of the things that I really feel like DC lost when they went in that direction. But anyway, so again with this costume, it's nice. It's very Wonder Woman-y, but it doesn't lose the Norse look for Wonder Woman. So then we get to Tom King's Wonder Woman suit, and avert your eyes. So this is the thing. So this suit is slightly has a slight variation. The battle skirt, yeah, it's very different. I see what you're saying there, NJ. Even the boots are different, and like the eagle on the chest is different. So I agree with you on that per se. I really feel like they really ought to like get a common idea of like, this is how the suit's supposed to look. Please actually make it look this way. If not, please don't draw her then. But the other point or that this gets, so the other variation of this suit, because there were two versions of this, and as you guys know, this was the worst thing that they did. This is one of the worst things from a visual perspective that they did. So one of the things, so when Diana inexplicably brings her child into a combat zone without explaining why, if they had Diana say, I can't leave her with the Amazons because I'm scared that something will happen to her, that would be one thing. You could have explained that. However, with this, it's like, why would you bring your kid to a combat zone? But anyway, continuing on past that, I don't like the braid. And the thing about it, I get that it was because maybe she had her baby on her back, but for most of the arc, she doesn't like have have Trinity on her back. So there's no reason after she leaves Trinity with Etta, there's absolutely no reason for her to still have that stupid braid. It just looks dumb as hell. It really undermines Diana's like natural beauty, because she's supposed to be she's supposed to be beautiful, but it's like she kind of isn't in my opinion when she has that dumb braid. And I am so happy that was one of the best parts of the Stephanie Williams Wonder Woman issue 30, when all they did, when Diana shows up, all it is, she has the long hair. Are we saying braids can't be beautiful? Not necessarily, JK. I'm saying the way it's drawn here isn't, because even if you look at like her like face, it's very like it could be just more of like, the problem is the way that Sampere draws it, because she looks mannish, at least if you look at her straight on with the braid, the way Sampere draws her. That's really more of what I'm saying. Yeah, Sampere totally lost interest, because it's like, when you compare this Wonder Woman to like, let's say the issue 1 Wonder Woman, like, or is this issue? Yeah, this is issue 1. But when you compare it to that, or like even when you go to like like this Wonder Woman, you can definitely tell. And but the other thing, if you look at it, it's like he even draws her better on the cover for the DC Encyclopedia that's coming out in March. That's drawn by Sampere. So I'm like, so you totally just lost interest then, because that's what it really looks like. If it's like, that's what it really looks like when like Wonder Woman now in the Wonder Woman run is drawn so like stiffly, which matches how she speaks, but you guys know what I'm saying. So since it's, even though it's not Diana, but here's another look at why the braid doesn't look good. Like, look at the way it makes Diana look like a dude. So the other part of the Wonder Woman run, of the Wonder Woman costumes that I have to look at, is the Trinity suit. Because here is the thing about this suit. I'm going to find a good full body shot of this because there should be one here. Here we go. So here is the thing. The thing about this suit, there's nothing that makes it look unique. It just looks like a variation of a Wonder Girl suit. And I'm like, okay, but, and also, here's the question that really needs to be said. Besides her name, why does she have 3 lassos? What is the actual purpose of her? Why does she need 3 lassos? Let's not forget, this is also the first impression of the character when she is being a total girl boss. So I'm like, no. Like, this is like utterly like destroyable. What do you think of the Trinity limited series they made? I think it's one of the dumbest, like, absolute Wonder Woman has 3 lashes, but she doesn't have it out like this. It kind of looks, it doesn't look very, very, like, it looked kind of redundant. And yes, the black one being the death lasso. And I'm like, well, she's the death of the series. Also, what is that pose? Exactly. And in terms of the Trinity series, I hated it because all it is, here's what you guys have to understand about the Tom King Wonder Woman run. It's not a Wonder Woman run. It's a Steve Trevor run that is masquerading as a Wonder Woman run, because all it is look at how awesome Steve Trevor is, just because King self-inserts onto Steve, because the fact that they were both in like the military or intelligence community. That is what that is how this works. That is 100% the one of the major problems with this run, is that all it exists, all that it literally exists is because all that the only reason why this run exists is to glorify Steve. And King has said very much like that. Oh, and the other thing, so it's called Trinity, the Daughter of Wonder Woman. Then King legit said, oh, it's about fathers and daughters. And I'm like, oh, wow, thank you. So it's the daughter of Wonder Woman. Wow. The other thing, the other reason why Trinity just doesn't work fundamentally is, here's the open reason why Trinity exists. And this is the reasoning according to King himself. Literally just because Superman and Batman have kids. That is the reasoning for Trinity's existence. And I'm like, if that's the reasoning for this character existing, she does not deserve to exist in canon. Because here's the thing. All you're telling me is that you didn't care enough to give Diana something unique or do something unique with Diana, and you would rather be writing Superman or Batman. So I'm just gonna make her as much like Superman and Batman as I possibly can. But anyway, that's what this looks like. So then let's get some good Wonder Woman, because now we're going to talk about the absolute Wonder Woman look. I thought he said he made Trinity for his daughter. Yeah, he did. But if he did, that's the biggest insult to his daughter, because it's like, also if that's true, what does that say about his home life? Because Trinity punched Diana in the face. So I'm like, if Diana is supposed to be a stand-in for your wife, your own admission, do you realize what that sounds like? Yeah, Wonder Robin. Yeah, the fact that it's too Batman focused is right there. It's why it's stupid. So let's talk about absolute Wonder Woman. So here's the thing. This is when having a fully covered fully covered Wonder Woman works so well. Because with this, because first off, it has the red, black, and silver. So I like that like dramatic change in color scheme. The other thing that I really like is the variation of like the Wonder Woman logo, that it's like two W's, one on top of another. And I like the usage of like obviously the tattoo look, like makes her look very much. Now, here's the thing. The original pitch was it was gonna be Kratos, like the warrior woman, but when Kelly was given the book, because Tinian convinced Scott Snyder to do Batman instead of Wonder Woman, Kelly said, I'm not going to do this like Kratos. I'll just have her be regular Diana. Yes, the tattoo looks really good. And the tattoo is explained to be like magic because she sacrificed her arm to get Steve out of hell, which I wonder, why did Steve end up in hell? That's interesting. I sure hope that gets explained. But anyway, the thing that I really like about this Wonder Woman is now she can have 3 lassos, because the part that I had an issue with when it came with Trinity is that they're on her, like 2 on her side and 1 around 2 on her sides and 1 around her like chest. Whereas I think that's a little excessive. With Wonder Woman, she has essentially with this, Wonder Woman has what is essentially a bag of holding, which is a bottomless bag, so she can fit as much stuff in there as possible. Like that's where she puts her sword and like all of her magical items, and she has all of her lassos in there. Like she has the red lasso, she has the lasso of changing, which turned her into Medusa at one point. JK says, "Isn't it Hades where everyone goes after death in Greek mythology?" Yes, it's essentially Hades or hell. It's called interchangeably that. So saying Wonder Woman was raised in hell instead of like Hades is still like accurate. Plus, you want like the general audience to be able to latch on and get the basic idea. Okay, so she's in hell. That's the basic plot here. But yeah, so those are like now the other thing that I really want to talk about actually is let's talk about that helmet of Athena thing as well, because that's the other part of Absolute Wonder Woman that's really unique, because Diana has had helmets in the past, but I just love the look of that helmet, the way it has like the sash coming on the top and stuff. I really, really, really dig the way that looks and how it's like, and how it's done in that way. I really dig that. But so let's see what else. So now let's go to Kid Diana, because that counts as a look. Let me go to, actually, let's go and check out Wonder Woman as Medusa. So this is Diana turned into Medusa because of the lasso, because she had to change into to fight the tetrahedron. And by the way, I am ridiculously like thankful that it wasn't just like a plot point for like a Michael Bay horror movie like thing. No, it literally was, okay, I'm going to do this as a plot point, because it's like this plays into Diana's like going to free Medusa and saying, look, I got to like live like a day or so, or like an hour or so in your shoes, and I would never wish that on anyone, and you've suffered enough. And I'm like, that is in many reasons why the Absolute Annual is 100% like the best issue in the entire series of Absolute Wonder Woman. But anyway, so let's hang on, wrong thing. Let me go to here. By the way, also, just wanted to say that Cersei Rebirth, the current one, is really bad. She looks just like a businesswoman. Yeah, that was from the Justice League Dark Rebirth series by Tinian. Oh, that's another Wonder Woman look we need to look at. Is the Witching Hour Wonder Woman look. So context, in the Tinian Justice League, in the Tinian and Ram V Justice League Dark run, I have the omnibus right here. I'm going to grab it. Which, by the way, NJ, I see why you were constantly telling me I have to read and review this, because it is a delight. I love this book. So what Tinian retcons is when Diana was a girl, she was exploring Themyscira when she stumbled upon like a group of women summoning Hecate. Hecate is the god, is the like goddess of all the witches. So they brand her on her forehead with the witch's mark, which basically means that like she will be taken over at one point by Hecate and used as like her avatar. So one of the things that this ended up doing was like dramatically powering up Diana and turning her into like this essentially super Wonder Woman, which I think is really cool. So this was the one when Hecate took complete control over Diana and turned her into a villain briefly. Okay, I can't say this enough. Very, very briefly. But there is another look for Wonder Woman right here. This is when Cersei activated the witch mark, but made it so Diana could like control it. And Diana essentially went Super Saiyan. Oh, this Wonder Woman could rip. Oh, yeah. This Wonder Woman is the one that I think could beat Kratos. Like 100%. I think that this supercharged Wonder Woman is the version of Wonder Woman that could beat the God of War dude. Like, it's not even close, honestly. I feel like this one could beat Kratos. But that's like the Justice League Dark Magic Wonder Woman, which I think actually looks really cool. So another one that I really like, speaking of Norse Wonder Woman, so DC in the middle of after Death Metal, they did like a small event which is basically like a villain known as the Frost King shows up and like turns the earth into perpetual winter temporarily. And then Diana has to don this like Norse, in essentially this Viking style armor, and that's essentially what this is. And I really dig this look for Wonder Woman. I think it's like one of the more unique looks for the character that we've had in like a really long time. And it's like, and McFarlane also had a really dope look for the character, by the way. I need to get the variant of that. But anyway, it's like, yeah, it is a fantastic look. And this is one of the ones that I want to show up again. The thing that I like about this is, what's your take on the absolute powers? Oh, yes, let's talk about that. That's a great one. So, absolute power, Wonder Woman. I want to get a zoom in on that. So, yeah, let's go with this one. Or can I get a more zoomed in look? Here we go. So with this one of the things I like about it is I like that for the purpose of absolute power, it's more of like a tactical suit. And that's what they were like selling it as, because for those who don't know, in absolute power, the Amazo androids depowered the entire Justice League. So what happened was Batman, they retconned that Batman had built tactical suits for most of the Justice League. Didn't give them their powers. It was more like just like so they can look cool and have character designs. And one of the things that I liked about this suit, I definitely dug this because, again, this shows you can have fully covered Wonder Woman. But what this does better than the new 52 armor is that this isn't too bulky. It honestly looks like she's a medieval knight a little bit, like a warrior maiden kind of from like that time period, because there's no like bulky shoulder pads. It's more like some sleek shoulder armor that like that she has here. And that's one of the like suits that I think was one of the most well-designed like Wonder Woman looks in a while. And honestly, I wouldn't mind this coming back. Or honestly, hey, Todd or Mattel, can you guys make an action figure for this, please? Because that would be very, very, very nice. I know you hate her, but thoughts on the Injustice look? All right, so let's talk about that. So there have been various Injustice Wonder Woman looks. So we'll start with the Injustice 1 look. So let me get to that. It's basically this. So it's okay. It's basically just a regular Wonder Woman suit, but with pants. So it's like, I don't hate it. I think the chest piece is a little too big, but it's not like one of the ones that I really hate. So then we get to the Injustice 2 Wonder Woman suit, which here's the way it looks in the comics. And then here's the way it looks in the game. This is not one of my favorite like Wonder Woman suits, I think, in the like examples of Wonder Woman costumes, because like, I mean, it doesn't look like the chest piece doesn't really look recognizable as an eagle or Wonder Woman. I don't like the tiara being like even fully covering the cheek. Yeah, it's not one of my favorite like Wonder Woman suits, I don't think. In terms of Flashpoint Wonder Woman, if we're going off, if we're going off of the movie Flashpoint Wonder Woman, not a good look. If we're going off of the comics Flashpoint Wonder Woman, I like this because again, it makes her look like a knight, like a Joan of Arc. And I like how she has kind of like a pirate sword like thing. And I like the Mera helmet design in this more because, again, it's more of this is what this war has cost us. That's why she wears the helmet. And by the way, again, I will never forgive the guys that made the Injustice animated movie for royally destroying what that suit's supposed to represent and what Flashpoint Wonder Woman's supposed to be. Oh, I know that guy. It's the thing about it, and Jeff Johns for perpetuating it in the Flashpoint 2. Because again, I'm going to tell you guys the Flashpoint Wonder Woman story. So Diana meets Arthur. They're trying to bring their people together in peace. Penthesilea, Wonder Woman's aunt, and Orm Ocean Master sabotage the wedding and kill Hippolyta, but pin it on the Atlanteans. Then later, when the Atlanteans come for peace, the Orm sets off bombs on Themyscira, and then what that leads to is Diana is Philippus being killed, and then this is what around the time that Mera attacked, and Wonder Woman was constantly like begging Mera to stop attacking, but Mera wouldn't. So then Wonder Woman had to kill Mera for self-defense and wears the helmet as a reminder of what this war has cost them. So it wasn't that that Diana had an affair with Arthur. That is not the story. The real story is that Diana was constantly trying to get peace between between Arthur and herself, even to the point where she discovered there was like a conspiracy. She went to Arthur and says, I know there's no love lost between us, but you need to like trust me. We are being conspired against. Diana routinely was the peacemaker that she should be. This movie ruined Flashpoint Wonder Woman for good. Yeah, I know. For a good Wonder Woman like Flashpoint Wonder Woman is, they ruined that. And I'm like, and then it's not just the animated movie, it's that damn Flashpoint sequel book, which it's called like Flashpoint Beyond, I think, which further like hurt that. Flashpoint Beyond. Which look, what would you choose to be adapted in the DCU? I would say I kind of want to say stick with the armored suit because that's the one that's going to translate the best, the best to live action. Because the last thing we want is for the female like actress playing Wonder Woman to feel like objectified or something like that because of like the way that the bikini suit looks. So that's kind of where I am like leaning, and that could be any suit like. You don't necessarily have to do the Gal Gadot suit. What you could do is I would probably go with, if I had to guess. Well, let me put it this way. What would be interesting is if for Wonder Woman, what they did is they actually adapted Absolute Wonder Woman for the movie. That would be very cool if they actually went in that direction. Would they do that? I don't know. But would it be awesome? Yep. I would say it would be awesome. Oh, also, Flashpoint Wonder Woman never, ever killed Billy Batson. If they can make it work, it would be perfect timing to adapt the Perez suit. Yeah, if you can make it work without like objectifying the female, like the female the actress playing Wonder Woman, sure, absolutely do it. That's the ideal situation. But if you're just going to, but it's like you, again, that's where you need to have like the balance between the two. I would be all for the Perez suit. Yeah, exactly. Me too. And it looks like they would try and do that because a lot. And the other one that they could do is the new 52 armored suit. Oh, speaking of new 52, DCAMU Wonder Woman. We need to talk about the other animated Wonder Woman suits. Let's do that. So then we have, yeah, and Tavia, no, I don't want the DC YOU suit to be adapted. So here is the DC AMU Wonder Woman suit, which is the new 52, but it puts her hair more in like a ponytail-like thing, and it gives her that covering over like the chest there, and it gives her essentially a turtleneck suit, which I really like. I think that this is one of the best looking Wonder Woman suits, I think, in animation that we've had in like a really long time. I think it's one of the costumes that I think they really nailed. And obviously we have the Susan Eisenberg Wonder Woman, which is very much like the Perez Wonder Woman. Too bad she spends all of her existence simping over Batman. Then we have the Tomorrowverse Wonder Woman. So I'm going to start with Justice Society, World War II. Then we're going to get Wonder Woman. So right here, I like that this is clearly the homage to the H.G. Peters Wonder Woman, the Golden Age one that we would see in like the Golden Age Wonder Woman right here. And I really dig, like, first off, the other thing that this did is that it gave Wonder Woman an accent and some melanin, which Britt and I have always said that if you're adapting Wonder Woman, she should look like she comes from like Themyscira. Then we have Justice League War World Wonder Woman. And then we have this Wonder Woman suit, which I think it looks really good because you have the like short look, but you also have like the regular eagle look for Wonder Woman there. And I really dig that as like a look for Wonder Woman. And it's like it's the perfect blend of the Perez Golden Age and the Gadot suit, I think. So that's like the point there. But anyway, so let's discuss. So let's talk about any questions that you guys have about costumes, about Wonder Woman's looks, her costumes, her iterations. Ask away, people. I am here to serve your questions and answer them. Let me know. Any questions about Wonder Woman's costumes, the different variations of the character? Any questions in terms of like Wonder Woman costume? Let's see. Oh, the death metal suit. Yes, we need to look at that. Let's look at that. DC Death Metal. And JK, best Elseworlds look, I would say it's probably Kingdom Come. I would say Kingdom Come is the best Elseworlds. There's so many Elseworld suits for Wonder Woman in there that I may have to do a part 2 of this, because this is currently just the mainline one. So here's the Death Metal Wonder Woman, which I like. It has like bone. And then again, Tevye, I'm going to talk about the I'm going to do the Elseworld suits a different day, and like I just said. But I like the blue highlights in the hair, and I really dig like the crown there for Wonder Woman. They did a great job, Capullo and Snyder, with the Death Metal Wonder Woman. And the fun part about this is like Death Metal is kind of a Batman event, but Wonder Woman is the protagonist of Death Metal. Like, let's face it, she is. She even has the Chainsaw of Truth, which I love. By the way, here's a better look at the Death Metal suit. Hang on, let me do this. All right, here we go. And nope. There you go. Yeah, right there. I love her boots. I love everything about this version of Wonder Woman. Just looks solid and really, really, really cool looking. Justice League 3000 Wonder Woman. Let's take a look at that one, shall we? Okay, so let's look at this. So for this Wonder Woman look, all right, here's a good look at it. Not my favorite. I think that the sash here is a little too busy, in my opinion. Hang on, let me get this. Yeah, like this. I don't like this. Going back to the biker look, is that the worst one in terms of continuity? In continuity? No, the worst one in terms of in continuity is the white spy suit that Wonder Woman had. That's the worst one in continuity. That is very much the worst one. Like, look, I'll show you this. Agent Diana Prince. All right, here's another good Wonder Woman look, is when she was a secret agent with the Department of Metahuman Affairs after she killed Maxwell Lord. And it's obviously an homage to the Silver Age Wonder Woman. Like this. I do not like that costume. This is the worst in continuity costume there is. Now, the other Wonder Woman that I want to talk about for costumes is this. You ready? Let's do this. Earth 3 Superwoman. All right. So let's talk about Superwoman. So here's the new 52 look. This one was the evil Lois Lane. Isn't that funny how that ends up, huh, people? Which I like this design for Wonder Woman. It looks like a perfect, like, dark look for Wonder Woman. A vampire Wonder Woman is hot. I hate that they made her evil, but hey. Yeah, I know. But they gave her a good look. I'll give you that. So I like this look, but I really like the Donna Troy. Yes, it is Donna Troy. Look for Earth 3, like, Wonder Woman. Like that Superwoman with, like, the sandals and stuff. Hey, what's up, RJ? How you doing? So I really liked that look for the Crime Syndicate Superwoman. Like, yeah, that just looks so cool for Wonder Woman. But anyway, so what other? Let's look at Vampire Wonder Woman. Vampire Wonder Woman. Yeah, that actually looks that's really well done. I like the like jagged edges on like the W and the like crown. That just looks so cool. As a variant for Wonder Woman, I think that is probably one of the coolest looks for the character. As an Elseworlds look for Wonder Woman. Yeah, that is just really cool, particularly with like the cloak and like the tattered cloak on the costume. I really dig that. But yeah, any other questions before we wrap up the stream for the day? Let me know. Any questions whatsoever about Wonder Woman's costumes, her looks, her portrayals? What do you guys want to talk about when it comes to Wonder Woman? You guys can let me know. What do you guys think would be, what's your guys' all-time favorite look for Wonder Woman? Let's see. What is some of your favorite Wonder Woman looks? And by the way, so next week's episode, because we're at the last set of this batch from the last poll, we are now the place where we could go with this. I'm gonna do another poll then. So let me do another poll real quick. Okay, so let me do this. So let's do this. We are gonna do like Gotham by Gaslight in Yakuza Wonder Woman. Yes, we need to talk about that. I'll talk about that in 1 second, NJ. So let me do that. Start Q&A. All right. Actually, not start Q&A. Let's see. Start a poll. Next week's episodes. Gold Marston Wonder Woman. Justice League Dark. Let's do, what was another one I wanted to do? Batman Ninja 2 Wonder Woman. Let's do that. And then let's do for a fourth one. Let's do deep dive on the Amazons. Where I go over like all of them, what the mythology, actual Greek myth says about the Amazon and stuff. So there you go. So next week's episode, we can talk about the Marston run for Wonder Woman, Justice League Dark, the Witching Hour arc, Batman Ninja 2 Wonder Woman, and then we can also talk about, let's see, we can also talk about doing a deep dive on the actual mythological Amazons. So let me see this. So Gotham by Gaslight Wonder Woman. So let's do that. All right, 9 people are watching the stream currently, so please go ahead and vote. You want your voice to be heard. So let's see. And then Tavia says, question, what about Flashpoint and Just One? We talked about that Tavia. We already talked about those costumes. But yeah, so let's take a look at this costume for this. All right, so with this one, it's not bad. It's not like my favorite look for the character. Wait, hang on. It's not my favorite look for like an Elseworlds Wonder Woman look, but it's like, okay, I like the ponytail and like the helmet. It kind of looks like very Frank Miller in it. So that's not bad. But the best Wonder Woman look, Batman Ninja 2 Wonder Woman. This is the best look for Wonder Woman has been in animation. Because first off, she gets this dope eagle tattoo. And even like her name is the Eagle Goddess Diana. And I love how when they use their like powers, when the League actually uses their powers, their tattoos glow. That's always really cool. Really well done. And I like her like kimono look where it's like her hair is all up in that bun. They did Japanese Wonder Woman just looks fantastic the way that is actually like represented. They did a killer job doing the like character designs for this. And there's my lady Jessica Cruz. Hail yeah. But yeah, so a lot of this was like extremely well done. But yeah, so currently in terms of the polls, Batman, a full-on deep dive on Batman Ninja 2 Wonder Woman is winning at 50%, followed by Justice League Dark and Marston Wonder Woman. And then last place is the deep dive onto the Amazons. And basically what that would be is I go through the Greek mythology of the Amazons and talk about what the actual legends and myth. I'll still do it, but that'll be the last thing then if you got it for what we want to like talk about. But yeah, so any other questions that you guys have as it relates to Wonder Woman, her costumes, her lore, or what like episodes you would like to actually see come out? Let me know. Question: what about the costume and with Wonder Woman during the Jeff Loeb, where Superman and Batman are bad guys? Oh yeah. Hang on. Let me do that. Jeff Loeb, Wonder Woman. The characterization of Gotham by Gaslight is spot on, though. The writer respect to the core values. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I like that. Jeff Loeb, Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman. I can't. I'm not sure if I can find that one. Oh, actually, here's one more that we can talk about. I can't believe so in Post Crisis, there was a Trinity series, where Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman became gods, and I'm trying to find that like look. Here we go. This is the last costume we'll look at for this week, and then we'll just get, if there's more, we'll revisit this topic as time goes by. But this is what the god version of Superman and Wonder Woman and Batman look like right there. Hang on, right there. And this is like one where they start to like where they felt like failures, so they became gods and felt like that's the only way that they can properly protect the world. Yeah, they look really good. Anyway, so let's take a look at the poll. So far, still no changes. And there's 4 votes. So there are 6 people watching currently. So you guys got to vote. Wonder Woman looks like a Red Lantern. Yeah. Oh, another Wonder Woman look. Dang it. You guys keep coming up with good ones. Here we go. Star Sapphire Wonder Woman from Blackest Night. That was Kurt Busiek at Tevia. He wrote the Trinity story. So we have a Blackest Night Wonder Woman where she became a Star Sapphire and basically was in that type of costume. But yeah, so this was one of the coolest Star Sapphires. And then when Diane became a Star Sapphire again, the thing is they took away the sex appeal of the suit, which I get it. It is very gratuitous in terms of like a look for Wonder Woman. So I kind of get why they kind of heavily modified that look. So I'll give him that. This is the one time where I'm like, yeah, you can change that. But anyway, so in terms of the looks, we got 4 votes. So I'll give it a little bit more time and then I'll end it. Why being hot is bad? I don't think it's bad. It's just like the people critiquing the series probably thought it was bad, or the writers of now think it's bad. I was fine with the suit, but it's like some writers just don't like Diana being hot. And as Britt and I've said many times, we missed it when Diana was allowed to be hot. Is that even an outfit? Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like, that's a little, to call it an outfit is extremely generous. I think a DC versus Mortal Kombat, that's straight up the Perez costume. So I don't think I have to like do another discussion on that. But yeah, I think that is pretty good. So I am going to anyway, so I'm going to end the poll. So looks like next week's episode is going to be Batman Ninja 2. So I'll take a picture of the poll so I can make sure I make note that these are going to be the next 4 episodes of the show. So next week is going to be the Batman Ninja 2 Wonder Woman, followed by, we're going to talk about William Moulton Marston's Wonder Woman from the Golden Age. Then we're going to talk about the Justice League Dark Witching Hour. And then we're going to do a deep dive into the actual mythological Amazons. So that is what we are going to do. As far as what content you can expect from Comics League. So let's go with... Wait, when you have women even saying they miss female characters being hot, you failed. Yeah, I know. So this coming week, in terms of content, first I need to get with Robert and figure out what we're doing for Super Pals. But for Under Two Capes, we're probably going to do another character focused episode or story focused. As far as movie night, we're going to be talking about the newer Red Sonja movie. And in terms of Super Wonder Legacy, Britt and I are going to be comparing Superman and Wonder Woman to the romances of Hippolyta, and whether or not that's like Zeus, Hercules. And by Hercules, I mean because, again, Perez tried to recontextualize and fix that. So that's kind of the point that I really want to like go there. Yeah. But Philippus is her wife. Yeah. Well, yeah, and we'll talk about that as well as a love interest for sure. But it's saying in the past, all of the different iterations of Hippolyta. But yeah, so let's go to, all right. Let's wrap it up there. Remember, Steve Trevor, Steve Never. He's a sack of moldy potatoes. And then Zois and Max about for life. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.